100% pro-life, 100% pro-marriage, 100% pro-family. That I call, this is my favorite phrase, it's kind of long, so hold your breath. It's about 7 words. I think Ron Paul is an intellectually honest, he is a politically authentic, conservative, constitutional statesman. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you, I believe, the next President of the United States of America, Dr. Ron Paul, and his wife, Carol.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know, my wife Carol is with me today. But it's for a very special reason. We also have a lot of the family here. They got a bus and about 30 of them came up, so you'll be seeing them around today, and that is a delight for me and for Carol. But I have Carol here today especially because I want to make a very strong point. This year is different than 4 years ago. Believe me, there's so much more enthusiasm, so many more people, and there's a big difference. But the other point I wanted to make is 4 years ago, we had a similar rally and we came here for the straw vote, but Carol got sick down in Des Moines and had to go to the hospital, and she was in intensive care. And as I came up here, I came by myself. And we did get through it, and she did fine. She had a little surgery the next day, and she's been doing very well since then. So I am very pleased that she is here. And for me, it's part of this whole thing, how different the world is, the country is, and how our campaign has grown, and the emphasis throughout the country on the issues that we think are so important. So I'm delighted to see the turnout here. This is fantastic, and I don't think you need reminded again. Don't forget to vote, because you know, what are the expectations? The media presses me all the time. What do I expect? What place am I coming in? And I don't know. I don't know of anybody that knows exactly how it's going to work out. But obviously we're doing so much better. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I think that it's interesting that now they're starting to talk about us being mainstream. And they imply sometimes in fun that, have I gone mainstream? Am I starting to talk to the mainstream? No, but I think the mainstream have come in our direction. So there's every reason to be optimistic, and when they press me about what place we're going to come in, I do not give a direct answer because obviously I don't know. But I do believe we'll certainly do better than we did 4 years ago. We're going to do better. And I know we're going to do well. But the question is, are we going to do very well? And of course, I'm hoping for that. I think we can, but only time will tell. In a few hours, we're going to know that. And that will give momentum. It's not going to give momentum to me personally as much as it's going to give momentum to the philosophy of liberty and a different type of politics, different than we've had in a long, long time. I mean, sadly, it's a rather radical change to restore the Constitution and restore liberty, but that is our goal. But the issues have come our way. When you think about what was happening in 07 and 08, there was a bit of derision cast upon us for mentioning the fact that the economy was actually weak, that there was a pending recession, depression coming, and obviously we even talked about foreign policy back then, but nobody wanted to hear it. And there's still a lot that don't want to hear it, but I tell you what, There's a lot of Americans now, and I believe the vast majority of the American people now are with us on ending the wars and actually changing the Federal Reserve System. So there's every reason in the world for us to be encouraged. And that is why I get my energy from all of you getting together. I know I get a lot of compliments for energizing you, but believe me, the energy comes from more people coming together. I've always worked on the assumption that it isn't the politicians that change things, it's the attitude and the understanding and the philosophy of the people. And you represent a precise philosophy of the people, and you are the leaders, and that is why America is looking toward us to find the answer for the terrible mess that we're in today. You know, much of the time, people say, well, our main problem is the economy and jobs, and I don't disagree with that at all. It is, but you can't separate that from some other issues. If you're concerned about the economy, most people now know that the debt is bad and the deficits are bad, and they have no answers. But how many times have you heard in Washington today, whether it's either side of the aisle and the other side of the debate, insisting that we change our foreign policy and quit spending these trillions of dollars overseas? That's where we need to start. And then we need an economic system. You cannot have a strong economy without a strong currency. And that is what we need. And to have a strong currency, it has to be different than just paper money. And therefore, we are obligated, and the market will obligate us to look at the monetary system. And that is where we have made great strides. I never dreamed myself that 3 or 4 or 5 years ago that it would be on the lips of so many people. A discussion in Washington, literally getting passed in the House of Representatives last year, an audit the Fed bill. We're making great progress on this issue. To get our economy going again, we need to deal with the major subject is returning liberty to the people and having confidence that freedom works and the people know how to spend their money. But to get the capital back into this country, we've exported capital due to our monetary system and other things. But to get the capital back in, you have to have a strong currency. You can't have a paper currency and be the reserve currency of the war and you export all the jobs. But to bring it back, you have to invite the capital back, a strong currency, but also a sensible tax code. You can't tax capital. You can't say that if you repatriate your money and bring your money back home, you take 35% from it. So that has to end. We have to change the tax code that the penalties are minimal. Ideally, of course, our ideal that we would like to see someday is getting rid of the income tax entirely. You know, a lot of people worry about that, and they say, yeah, that sounds good. I wish that could happen. But how does a country run without an income tax? And I said, well, why don't you just look back before 1913? The country was run pretty well, and they didn't have these deficits. So no, it isn't so much the tax policy as the spending policy, and that reflects the attitude of the people. If the people continue to want us to pursue these wars overseas and try to prop up the entitlement system and never challenge the entitlement system, there's no way we can meet up our obligations, and we'll end up with runaway inflation. What we're proposing here is the fact that we could, if we were determined to work our way out of it, cut the spending overseas, cut the taxes, get people back to work again, change the tax code, decrease the regulations, don't increase the regulations, and also emphasize the principles of liberty in the marketplace. Protect private property. Don't let the government always rule and control our private property. Emphasize the issue of private contracts. These are the things that make us great and prosperous. Those are the principles that build America. Those are the principles we need to restore. But today will be a special day because that is what the vote is all about. There's a lot of questions I've been asked about other individuals entering the race, and it will change things to some degree. But I do not anticipate very many of you saying, well, I'm going to support you today, Ron, but I'm going to wait and see who else comes in because I might switch my vote. I'm not worried about that. But others will come into the race. They're looking around. They're looking around for the super establishment candidate that can challenge us, and they will come in one at a time and finding that individual that will maintain the militarism and the spending and all the problems and not challenge the Federal Reserve. But it won't dilute our vote. As a matter of fact, it'll be a stimulus because more will join us because they know that the status quo has gotten us to this problem, to these conditions. The status quo politicians cannot answer the questions. We have to have something new and different and reflect on our traditions, reflect on our Constitution, and reflect and believe in liberty. I will be around the rest of the day. I will be back to address you later on, but I do have another TV appearance and I have another speech to give. But I do want to conclude by not only saying once again I'm delighted Carol's with me, but I'm delighted that all of you are with me, and we really look forward to a fun-filled day. And of course, if we get our vote out, maybe we will just have a super fun-filled day. I thank you very much.
Ron was right. 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 Now,